I'm Robson from Black Ghost Records. How are you guys? Going well? Not too
Yeah,
much,
good
mate.
man. Good.
Thanks, man.
Guys,
Yeah.
just wanted to first off, just wanted to ask, are all four of you guys based in Bristol? Is it
Yeah.
awesome? What are your thoughts on the abundance of talent that's been coming out of Bristol for the past 20 or 30 years? You know, with Massive Attack, Portishead, you guys, Idols. Do you think there's something that's in Bristol that differentiates itself from all the other UK cities?
It's like some other cities might be sort of pigeonholed as like, I don't know, like they do indie there or they do something else there. Whereas like in Bristol, people just want to make authentic, strong music. I think that's
Plus,
the main.
also Bristol's quite small, so I think that's quite good because you hear fast about local musicians and you get to know them, and I think everyone's kind of like eggs themselves on a bit, because a lot of bands are coming out. It's actually really annoying how many good bands are coming out. You'd be like, fuck, we need to actually do more shit because look at all this stuff just within like last 6 months. You're like, shit, there's already like 5 new things. So yeah, it's actually really annoying. We're probably moving from Bristol soon. No, I'm joking.
Fair. I noticed you talked about authenticity. Is that something that you guys strive for as a band? Is that a goal of yours to be authentic?
Obviously you take a lot of influences from everything else, but I think what happens is because we have such a melting pot of influences, and then sometimes sometimes I think like, wow, we're just kind of ripping off these 3 musicians or acts, but because you try to use it with your own language, so it ends up kind of being quite like authentic, unique thing, even though maybe it's inspired by trying to do like some kind of copy of something else, but in the end, because we're just trying to express ourselves in between 4 of us and stuff. So yeah, I think, obviously there's this goal to be do something that's nobody ever done before, and sometimes you succeed, sometimes you not, but you just keep trying.
Well, I think one sort of theory I've had, and I've kind of taken it from a lot of hip hop and stuff in this year really mainly, is this idea of like, it's quite funny, loads of in hip hop, loads of new artists coming out that are like pissing off a lot of older artists in hip hop because they're sort of disregarding the past, and I actually think that's great. I feel like really sometimes it's cool to like to respect all that old stuff or whatever, but at the same time it's kind of more fun to be like, nah, fuck that, let's just do something new, and not really think about it.
That's fair enough. So you mentioned hip hop, and obviously you got the punk background. Are there any other musical genres that you boys tend to listen to a fair bit that tend to have a bit of influence on your music?
I mean, Oli quite like pop a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and just hooks and melodies and stuff, but people just assume we're just listening to like hardcore punk 24/7 and like gnarly shit all the time, which is actually half of the time is really not the case, safe to say, in our band.
I listen to a lot of stuff, a lot of like Afrobeat. Like you listen to quite a lot of techno, don't you?
It's been more of a recent thing, because I used to be like, no, I like bands, but yeah, recently I've been trying to listen to a bit more electronic music, and so that's been kind of very different approach, even though sometimes I don't have lyrics, but it's more like the pacing and the feel. Yeah, and as you're trying to implement stuff for more, so techno, some drone. Recently I got drone, but to be honest, that's definitely not applicable to our band, unless we just do a Sano record, which is like, although there's one rehearsal, Oli was shredding so much, I was like, guys, let's just have a song that's like 20 minutes of just one word and just glacier pace.
Why not?
But sometimes it's just an emotion you get from there, isn't it? Because I would say that like
really good point.
it probably sounds like really lame, but I have taken a lot from classical music over the years, and that like emotion, when it brings up to the moments, when you listen to something like The Lark Ascending, it's like it goes to these bursts of moments where you're like mind blown, and that could be like EDM. It's just like the same thing. It's the same presence in the music. It's just emotion of it.
Like when you write music, do you guys, like you said, have an idea of what you're kind of going for before you start, or is your writing process more organic than that?
Well,
It varies really.
Yeah, it's very like sometimes it could be from a riff that all you had, but sometimes it's like in the practice that grows into something else, and then what George and James kind of work on it, and then I come in a bit later on when the guys, kind of had more established idea. But like from all the songs that we had, it actually varied quite. Each song, we're still kind of working, trying to nail down our writing process, so to say. But yeah.
No, fair enough. Awesome. Let's take a moment to talk about your recent release from late last year, Measure. Was the recording and writing process for that any different to any of your other projects, or is it more just you guys kind of figuring out like what you do best and how you do it best and all that?
The EP we did before, straight to CD, that was like a compilation almost of some songs we had that we kind of wanted to put together.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like when we made Measure, we were like conscious of it being those songs that fit together and they were like written to go together. Yeah, it was like we were kind of trying to make it like half an album kind of thing like that. Just a small album.
We kind of now had a bit more experience in the studio, so I think approaching it, we took longer to record less songs, but to spend time, because we recorded our first EP, 5 songs in 3 days, right? I believe that was how we did it.
Yeah.
And a massive element to, like, I guess not say improvement, is also our producer Alex Greaves, who we've met for like him messaging us, and Oli knew actually before we've met him in Bristol, so he was being quite like an important part of, I think, for us as well.
Well, we also had James Travaskis as well, who's the engineer and Vader. It was a bit more of like an experience of like a whole thing, really, rather than doing bits on the fly, which we've done before.
In terms of coronavirus and lockdown and all of that, how's that affected the band in a creative sense?
Obviously, as expected, all the gigs got cancelled. All the festivals, all the gigs that had lined up, our first headline tour in Scandinavia, and I don't know, who knows what to say, but some stuff got rescheduled for October, but at this rate, like, I mean, I don't think anyone's kind of expecting it to get out the message down the line this summer going, no, everything's postponed to next year. So it's dried up gigs-wise. Writing process, I don't know, because the boys are still in Bristol. Yeah. I went back home, but I'm coming back soon. But yeah, trying to have some ideas. But I personally, first few weeks, didn't have any inspiration at all. And it's kind of defeated in a way. But then kind of started doing some things for fun that maybe can implement ideas with the band. But yeah, what about you, Oli?
It has sort of blanked out my motivation to do stuff. Partly because just sitting by myself at a computer making music is just fucking boring.
This is sometimes in practice, because you get that fucking energy and vibe. I'll just get in the zone, even if there's no lyrics. But what they're doing is sick, and I kind of miss that element. So yeah.
Yeah, because I think it's I like the idea of like home recording and stuff, but I like the idea of home recording, getting bits together, and then knowing that in a couple of days I can go to the studio and we can go and try it, rather than weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks of just stockpiling stuff that isn't really done or isn't really anywhere near anything. We used to kind of quick fire and doing stuff like in the studio one go, but we're kind of now having to like really use the slow burner method, which is a bit dull, but you know, and we'll come out with stuff.
Hopefully, as depending on the ease of the lockdown, because they're lifting some rules, but there's been a spike, and so they're basically just been kind of seeing how can we work even in the same city. But yeah,
how do you guys find it telling which songs are going to do well and which ones aren't? Do you guys get a gist, or is it completely random?
I think you can tell when something's like a bit of like a, it's got a hook, like it's got more of a chorus, like with A Bit of a Birthday. Yeah. Like when we knew that would be catchy. Didn't know that people would love it, but we just thought, oh, that's catchy. People might be able to sing along or dance to it. But then other songs like Unfaithful One, I was quite surprised really that a lot of people really like that tune, and that's like quite a long
6 minutes.
Yeah, quite a long sort of long epic of a song really, but people like it. It's just sometimes you just can't judge it, And
also particularly not trying to be like, because that song when we did it, we were a bit, is it too long? But Oli was like, no, let's keep it long, and I was like, yeah. I mean, it's definitely gonna be hard to listen, but it became like a set closer. Mm-hmm. So I guess it's probably not as the one that got the most plays, but people still like it. But just not really It's like a mix between doing what you want to do and then having a strategic meeting with our marketing team, being like, what things can we? No, I'm joking. We don't have that. We don't have that shit.
What made you to get into music, and at what age did you decide that was something you really wanted to do?
Well, for me, it was. I've got quite a musical family. Mainly my brother and stuff. And when I was about 8, I was taken to the library and just sort of allowed to pick whatever I wanted from the CDs. And I picked out Iggy Pop, took that out, and just didn't know what it was, but loved it. Loved the cover, and it was like bright yellow compilation album. And then just played that religiously for a long time, and then got into like, my brother got me into Motorhead and Sex Pistols and Pearl Jam and lots of like old rock stuff, but I also simultaneously got into a lot of Indian and African music through through the roots of like the Beatles and stuff like that, and Jimi Hendrix, and then just started playing in bands. That was kind of it, and then I've done it ever since. Really, it was quite quick and I was quite set. As soon as I got into it, I was like, this is it. I know what I want to do.
And if Heavy Lungs could collaborate with any artist, dead or alive, who would it be? I'll get 2 answers from you guys, unless it's the same.
I would love to. I love to sit down with Run the Jewels. That'd be great. Killer Mike and LP are both amazing. Amazing people. I would actually also love to sit down with Rick Rubin. I've just been watching. I've been watching his TV show, and he's just really cool because he just like. He's always barefoot, wears the same clothes, and just like when he talks to people, he just has his eyes closed and he's just sort of vibing.
For me, it would be like maybe something like electronic kind of output, something from like electronic music world.
Oh,
something hard. Yeah, Scooter, proper like donk, mate. Oh yeah, donk producers. If anyone wants to redonk a remix, like a donk remix of our tune, fucking send it our way, because we'll be gassed for that. I don't know, maybe something like, I think 2 things, maybe like orchestral, because kind of listen to something like Drone, like Kali Malone, she's like Sweden, that could be quite cool. Or at the same time, something like, I only recently just got into like Regis, and he's like OG legend from like 90s Birmingham, like father, one of the like, industrial techno from the UK, like the Birmingham sound. Maybe something like that would be quite cool. Or like even like current producers that, yeah, I think or something like put some of the more electronic twist, but then a lot of people are doing that. I don't know, man. I just want to collaborate with the 3 other guys in this band. Fuck everyone else now.
Fair enough.
But also Run the Jewels.
Yeah.
Freddie Gibbs. That'd be sick.
Awesome. Maybe just one more question to close it out, and it needs asking. Do you boys see yourselves doing any tours down under anytime in the future?
Oh man!
Do you have the number or did you have the Chats's number? Because if I can send that away, man, we'll fucking come over and
let's get it going.
It'd be great. Yeah. We know a lot of people that are out there. It'd be really
I've never been to Australia, and I'll fucking love it. We just like I swear to God, we like been, maybe it was like last year, we were really obsessed with certain like Australian sayings. Or my favorite one I ever heard was when my friend said his like mate is like proper, they were this like festival, I don't remember where, and he's just like proper bogan guy, and he helped them like build this restaurant, really interesting guy, and they were like in the tent, just doing the naughty biz, and he walks over, just goes, I'm not going to do the accent because don't want to come across rude, but he just goes, I'm not here to fuck spiders.
Oh yeah, it's classic.
That's the thing? Is that people say that?
Yeah, it is. I got a few mates that abuse it too much.
Yeah, man.
Awesome, guys. Well, I might wrap it up there. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks for having us. Cheers, man. Take it easy. Stay safe, man. Bye.
You too, guys. You too. Have a good one.
Bye.
Cheers, man.